Hello, hello. What's up, everyone? What's up? Hey, Miss Gotti. Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up, Nick? What's up, pretty hot? Y'all all right?
Yep, we're good. We're good. Good morning, good evening.
Yep.
Hello.
Good evening. Hi.
Yeah, let me just play a little bit of music there.
Scrolling through days on a crack phone. Then it rang, wasn't ready for that. Same old world, but it hit different fast. Same two words, but the tone felt new. Just checking in, I believe in you. Funny how the way don't feel the same. When somebody speaks your name, all it takes is one call away. Right voice at the right time of day. That energy hit, make the dark feel light. Proof that this life's still worth the fight. One call away, changed my lane. Pulled me back when I lost my way. That connection say everything. Yeah, this life worth living. This life worth living. Could have been the worst night of my year. Tears in my eyes, fear everywhere. Real ones don't ask what you did wrong. They remind you who you've been all along. A laugh, a pause, a little truth. Sounded like hope coming through Bluetooth. No money changed, no skies turned blue. But I stood back up cause somebody knew. Sometimes love don't come with wings. Sometimes love just rings. All it takes is one call away. Right voice at the right time of day. That energy hit, make the dark feel light. Proof that this life's still worth the fight. One call away, save my name. Pull me back when I lost my way. That connection say everything. Yeah, this life worth living. If you ever feel like you're fading now, like nobody hears you when you shout, just know somewhere someone would answer. If you dial now, yeah. All it takes is one call away, one moment. Turn the pain to faith. That energy don't ever lie. If it found you, you meant to survive. One call away. Hear me say, your life got value, don't throw it away. If you breathe and you still got something to give. Yeah, this life worth living. This life worth living. This life worth living. Answer the call. Answer the call.
Okay. Hello. Welcome, everyone. You're on mute, Temper.
Hey, everyone. Did I unmute? Can you hear me?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right, all right. Hey, everyone. What's up? Been a long time. Been a long time since I gone live. Hey, Miss Peacock. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Darcy. Hey, Fluffy. Hey, Miss Gotti. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Miss Peacock's here. Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Welcome my guest on panel as well. Pretty hard the conqueror. And everyone know Nick. Yeah. Um, yeah, I just thought shoot a little live tonight. I ain't planning on being too long. Just have a little mature discussion on guardianship and oversight. So before we get into tonight's conversation, just want to be clear on why we're here and how we're going to handle this. This discussion involves the life of a child, Kei-Mani Latigue. Um, that alone deserves care, restraint, and respect. This is not a live about shock value, clicks, or internet trials. It's about understanding what happened, how narratives form, and where systems fail a child who should still be here. In the video I put together, I intentionally showed things in sequence: the initial interviews, the 911 call, statements from family members, custody explanations from the biological mother, reactions when new information surfaced, criminal records that were made publicly available, and finally the official report from LCCS themselves. Not to point fingers in the chat, but to show patterns, timeline, and accountability. Tonight we're here not to convict anyone in real time. That's not our role. We're also not here to protect institutions from criticism when their own reports admit failure. Both things can be true at the same time, but I'm asking everyone here to slow down with me, listen fully, question responsibly. If something feels uncomfortable, that doesn't automatically make it false. And if something feels emotional, that doesn't automatically make it fact. We will separate what is confirmed from what's still unanswered. We will talk about systems, child services, custody processes, background checks, because systems just don't affect one family, they affect many. And if at any point this conversation becomes about attacking people instead of examining facts and failures, I will redirect it, not to silence anyone, but to keep this space ethical and meaningful. At the center of all of this was a 13-year-old girl whose life mattered. The least we can do is talk about her case with honesty and respect. With that being said, let's begin. This is the Latigue story. A teenager who went missing from her grandmother's home. She was living with her grandmother, Dorothy Latigue, at a residence on Elm Street, North Toledo, Ohio. Kei-Mani was reported missing on Sunday, March 16, 2025. Her grandmother, Dorothy Latigue, reported her missing after returning home from work on Monday morning. She stated that the front door was open, unlocked, and that the house was in disarray. An investigation was shortly launched after. And after several days, Kei-Mani was found on Miami Street in East Toledo, Ohio, inside an abandoned building. Daniel Ogletree, her father, was later, allegedly, her father was later arrested and is currently awaiting trial at this moment. So, with that being said, let's get into this. Y'all on mute. Alrighty. Y'all can see the screen?
Yep,
Is everyone
yep,
going mute on me? All right,
yeah.
all right.
Yep,
Yeah.
I see it.
Don't worry about us being on mute. We'll talk when we need to talk. It's all
All
good.
right,
Take
all
it
right.
away. Take it away, Timber.
All
A 13-year-old who's been missing now. And Alexis Means spoke with her family members today. Alexis, what are they telling you?
Well, Sasha, the Toledo Police Department, they went out and they talked to the grandmother today. The grandmother says the teen has never run away. She did not show up for school on Monday, and when you call her cell phone, it goes straight to voicemail.
I just want her to come home safely. I mean, she's not in trouble. She hasn't been in trouble.
This is a picture of Spring Elementary student Kei-Mani Latigue. The teen has not been seen since Sunday evening after 10 p.m. Her grandmother says she came home from work and the
Trigger
door was
warning, trigger
unlocked.
warning.
It was Monday morning,
Okay.
and when I came home, she wasn't here. Of course, she was supposed to have been on her way to school, but according to the way that the house was set up, once I got here, because it was in complete disarray. Um, she wasn't here. So I called the school so that I can talk to her, and they said that she wasn't there.
She says Kei-Mani's keys were at the house along with her glasses. Her grandmother says the 13-year-old can't see without them. She also told me the stove was on and you could smell gas.
Other than her and I, it's just the two dogs in the house. So who cut it on? So that was kind of suspicious. Then her glasses and her underclothes were by the couch in the front room. Her pajamas were in the dining room and the floor.
Her family handed out flyers telling people if they see her to call police. The teen's grandmother says she's not the type of kid to run off.
She always calls me and asks me prior to going somewhere, can she go? She's a latchkey kid, so she has her own keys for the home. She has a phone just in case anything happens. She can contact somebody.
The father of a missing teenage girl is being charged with third-degree felony abduction.
Oh, we didn't start already.
Abduction. 13-year-old Kei-Mani
You there, Temper? Come on, internet.
Can you hear me?
Come on.
You good?
We can hear you. Yep.
Oh, you mean tell me that was blanking out all that time?
Oh, well, it just blanked out for 30 seconds. You know the video that you're playing, have you got the settings on high? The playback settings? Is it on 360?
Yeah.
Is it on 1080? What's it on?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. It's on the 1080.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Can we continue?
Yep.
Was the last person with Kei-Mani.
Here's how the story has unfolded over the last week. Toledo police posted the alert that Kei-Mani was missing on Tuesday, March 18th. It was just after 4 p.m. She was last seen reported at her grandmother's home. OL 11 spoke with the teen's grandmother, Dorothy Latigue. She is also Kei-Mani's legal guardian. She said she came home from work Tuesday morning, found Kei-Mani was missing. She called her school before making a report to Toledo police.
You know, one of the first things, a lot of things stand out to me, you know, with this initial investigation. And,
Same.
you know, one of the things what really stood out to me is, you know, if she saw the keys, you know, why not call the police right away? If she saw the keys and, you know, the clothing, if the house was in disarray, you know, what y'all think about that? I mean,
Yeah.
as instinct.
Well, I've got a few things to say about the timeline, just as it is right now. So they're saying she went missing Sunday evening at 10 p.m. How do they know that? Because Grandma is saying she was missing from Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, apparently, you know, it's so much things that stood out to me. For one, this really kind of touched home for me because, me being a father and my daughter being, basically almost the same age. And
Mm-hmm.
it really touches home because, you know, um, even the demeanor of the grandmother, the
Mm-hmm.
demeanor didn't even sit too solid with me, This is supposed to be, your flesh and blood. I mean, where's the emotion,
Well, yeah, and we're going to hear that in the call in a second.
Yeah, so a lot of things kind of stood out to me. So let's continue.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like to make a police report.
Okay, what's the address?
Elm Street,
Okay, what kind of report?
missing person.
Okay, what's your name?
Mine or hers?
Yours.
Dorothy.
Okay, and who's
Latigue.
missing?
Kei-Mani.
Is this your daughter, son?
This is my granddaughter.
Okay, do you have custody?
I do.
Okay, how old is she?
13.
How long ago she's been missing?
Well, to the best of my understanding, she's just been missing this morning. I called her school and went up to her school, and they said she's not there.
What school does she go to?
Spring.
Do you remember? Did you see what she was wearing before she left?
No, she's usually going to school before I get home from work.
Okay. Is she black, white, or Hispanic?
She's black. She looks Hispanic.
Okay, and then what was her last name?
Latigue.
Your phone number?
419.
Okay, does she have a phone on her that you're aware of?
She does, and it's dead because it's going straight to voicemail.
All right, I'll be out, then they'll be out.
Thank you.
Grandmother, the body of a missing Toledo 13-year-old has been found.
What you think? What you think with that 911 call? A lot of things don't even feel right the way that call was even placed. What do you think with that call? Anyone?
Well, to me, Grandma sounded annoyed that she had to make the call. She didn't sound upset.
Yeah,
in my opinion, she sounded more annoyed.
Darcy said, grandmother acting calm and not upset. I agree, Darcy.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
my instinct would have been totally different. Like, I couldn't hold that type of composure. Something fresh like that.
You can put the comments on the screen, Temper.
And it also,
there you go.
Exactly, Darcy. And when I really think about what is the importance of a 911 call and what it was meant to be and what it is meant to be, and if it's supposed to be evidence or a stress response or both, and it makes me think of how important it is to give up information, and to be relevant with the information. Hey, Steph, good to see you. Good to see you. And I feel as though, when it comes to missing children with that window, the more information you don't give, that window just widens and widens and widens,
Yep.
And
Yep.
then the mere fact that um she chose to go all the way to the school, you know,
She called the school, didn't
like
she?
when yeah, she called the school and then she went up to the school. So all that is
okay.
wasting time, you know. All
Yeah.
that really is wasting.
Mm-hmm.
And why I feel this is a valid point is, when a child is missing, time isn't emotional or operational. The first hour matter the first call matter. The first report sets everything in motion, if you ask me. So
Yeah,
where
there's
they
definitely not enough emotion, in my opinion.
right, you know, and then calling the school, you know, then going up to the school. Like I feel as though all of that is time you know, the law enforcement could have used on their side to help narrow the gap.
Yeah,
And
for sure, for sure.
yeah, and
Hey, what do you think, Miss Pretty Heart?
Um, I feel like she didn't have enough urgency because in any particular situation that happens to a child, being missing, you
Hmm.
have to have some type of urgency.
Absolutely.
And
I
I
agree.
have five I have 5 children myself. So if any of them was missing, it it's urgency. I would pick up the phone real quick. There's no calling the school. There's no trying to hold my composure. No,
Mm-mm, no.
it's
Yep.
automatic
Yep.
panic.
You can't
You
help
know,
yourself. You can't stop. You can't stop that emotion. You can't. You
mm-mm,
can't. You can't control it. In that moment, you cannot control it. And she was very controlled.
mm-hmm.
Very controlled.
Yeah, very, very. And and this evening a judgment, this in hindsight, this just protocol reality, you know.
Well,
There's only so much you could do as an individual. You have to make that call.
yeah, and we're just observing the behaviour. We're just observing and giving our opinion on what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
We're just interpreting what we're seeing.
Yeah. And basically what a 911 call should really represent the earliest form of information. That's what's most important. And that's what I'm really looking at here.
Yeah, and also, when did she find out any contact had happened between her and her father before that 911 call happened? Because surely she called her father to find out if
That's
she was there.
right. That's another important. And like I say, it's so much layers to this story, and it's so sad the way things happen. But when you really look at it, a lot of things really, really don't add up. Like right now, just we're in the lack of emotion.
Yep.
You know. Let me continue it.
Silver Barker is following this breaking news story for us and joins us now live. Silver, what's the latest?
All
Trigger
right, well,
warning,
here at this
guys.
house
Trigger
right behind
warning.
me, as you'll see, police officers were just searching through the house, taking pictures. Up there on that second floor, you can
Put it
actually
up
see
on
a
the
lot of
screen.
activity up there, people taking pictures earlier, police officers, excuse me, searching to find out exactly what happened all here. They do have a body inside the house, or they found a body inside the house, but they have not yet identified with me who it is. They do tell me, though, that it is in relation to 13-year-old Kei-Mani Latigue, who's been missing since March 18th. They're still working to find out those details, further details. They have not confirmed with me again whether that is the body. However, they did come out to the mother and have a conversation with her. And as I was watching that conversation, the mother did drop to her knees after having that conversation, which that tells us there could be a possibility that that was her daughter.
Now, I have to say a little something here. Um, at this point, there were public media posts and videos that were removed, showing a lot of stuff that had the neighborhood outraged based on the grandmother's accounts. Um, I'm not trying to show or replay anyone else's content, but I'm not speculating on why they were taken down. I'm only
And fair,
mentioning this to acknowledge that. What's that, Nick?
no, I was going to say, fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use, fair use.
Yeah. So I'm only really mentioning this to acknowledge that some information people may have seen early on. So, and some of these information isn't publicly available. So, we'll continue. But this is the reason why the mob or the neighborhood outrage happened, because when you live in a neighborhood amongst people, your neighbors get to see some things, they get to hear some things. So, that's
Right.
kind of
Okay.
What did happen yesterday at your home?
Well, I was called and told that there was a mob of people in front of my house. They were angry. It was more or less the people that were here earlier, waiting to see if it was Kei-Mani that was in the home. And basically, some people from the neighborhood had contacted me and said that there was a mob in front of my house, and they were talking about what they were going to do to me once I came home. So the police, the detective, helped me get my things and more or less escort me off the property. I asked to be handcuffed just so they can get the away from my property.
Are you scared?
So no, I was never arrested. I was taken downtown, but I was never arrested.
Are you scared for your safety right now?
I am.
it's so funny how
Is the LCCS who exactly did she come?
sorry about that. It's so funny how the energy with the grandmother, it still hasn't shift. Anyone kind of noticed that?
Yep.
She's still in angry mode when she should be,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that a mob, pardon me, that the neighborhood had to gather outside. It had to be something. I agree, Darcy. I totally agree. I totally agree. And
Yeah.
that's why I feel this is so important
And Grandma should be inconsolable because of what's
at
happened.
this point.
But she's angry because of the mob. She's so angry that
Yeah.
she asked the police to cuff her and put her in the car and take her away from the property.
Mm. And how telling is that?
It's pretty
How
telling.
telling is, yeah, very much so. But that's why, and I agree with you, Darcy. That's why I had to do this, because you know there's so many stories out there like this. You know, there's so
Mm-hmm.
many people that seeing Dorothy Latigue, this resonate with them. I
Mm-hmm.
happen to know a lot of, not family members, but people who have grandmothers like this, and go through these type of main affairs, main activities. So that's why I feel it was so important just to address it. And you're right,
Yeah.
Darcy, the failed guardianship. You know,
Can you put Miss Gothy's comment up? She looks agitated. Mm-hmm.
she looks agitated. I don't want to deal with the situation. Very much so. Like I say
Yep.
from the break, her emotions. She's totally disconnected. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
She
She's more
wanted to.
worried about she's more worried about herself than what's happened to her grandchild.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And to me, to be honest, she seems a little performative.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah, just to keep it a buck. It really
Mm-hmm.
it really seems so, because like I say, totally disconnected.
Yep.
Where the concern should be, it isn't even there.
Correct. Yep.
Like,
All right. You gonna play it?
yeah.
Yep.
Ian. I choose not to state her name, but she came from her other legal guardian because the other legal guardian and I were best friends. The other legal guardian is my daughter, Kei-Mani's mom, godmother. And we had already discussed when early on, because she's been with this person since she was 9 months old. My daughter has never really had custody of Kei-Mani. So she's been with this person since she was 9 months old until, like I said, maybe 5.5 years ago. Now, off and on, this person, we would interact and, do different things with her, for her, or I would contact her and tell her, well, I need this, or Kei-Mani would like that.
And you see the layers, the layers, the layers. There's so many layers. And just a little 30-second explainer. Um, a child living with someone does not automatically mean that the person is the legal guardian. There's a big difference between caregiving and legal responsibility. Legal custody or guardianship is granted by a court. That's when someone gives someone the authority to make medical, school, and emergency decisions. Informal care, even if it lasts for years, doesn't make that legal authority unless paperwork exists. And in critical situations, those distinctions matter because
So,
time matters. Yeah.
did paperwork exist or not?
No, because of the informal care, you know.
Okay.
But we got here. I just wanted to explain that a little bit because publicly there is no paperwork. So because of informal care and guardianship, yeah, that's how the timeline just wavers.
Okay.
So we can hear Tiara, Kei-Mani's Latigue biological mother, speak on the situation a bit.
I was originally living in Cleveland. And, I called my mom because I'm like, hey, you told me once that I was supposed to have been aborted, but you chose to give me life anyways. And I told her, like, I want to come up there and I want to allow you to see your granddaughter be born as a gift to you, and she brought me up there. Uh, and it wasn't just her. My adoptive mom not wanting me or my child in the presence of my biological mother called Children's Services, and because she didn't know my mother, threw me under the bus. But my mother did not aid in that at all. She ran along with it and threw even more allegations.
Wow, what a tangle web we weave.
Yeah, that was very.
What kind of mother?
This part of the story is very hard to absorb because she just said a lot.
Yeah, she said so much just now. But
Yeah.
seeing that the grandmother was basically on the menu just a while ago, still is. But what type of mother would tell her daughter that? Like, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And you could kind of see the anger, but
Hmm.
it's really hard. It's really
Hmm.
hard. But anyway, let me let it play before I say this.
Do you want to take the comment off the screen as well?
Okay. Remove that. Pretty hard, you good?
I'm Gucci. It's just heartbreaking. You can continue.
Yeah, it really is. Let me move this banner.
They took my daughter from the hospital from me. They told me that if I came back up to the hospital, my daughter would not be there. And that if I showed up there, they would charge me with criminal trespassing. And so I didn't go back. And then we had what's called a staff meeting a couple days later at Lucas County Children's Services. And they told me that they were charging me with neglect because I didn't return to the hospital to feed my child.
Was told my godmother claimed that she had a mental breakdown conveniently around the same time that her daughter had her first grandchild. And I guess she had left my daughter on my mother's front porch. Didn't ring the doorbell, didn't knock on the door. She didn't need money. And she was getting paid from the government for taking care of my daughter.
Wow. So how do you explain such a dysfunctional family?
You can't explain it.
For a mother to tell her daughter, something like that, you know, now you wonder why the anger was so real. Why Dorothy seemed so angry. You know,
I want to know. There's something I want to know, and I've wanted to know this the whole time. What deemed Tiara to be such a bad mother to have very limited contact with her own daughter?
that's
Why did any of this happen in the first place?
that's the magical question. And one thing I kind of try to put together, her godmother, Tiara's godmother, was a LPN.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's licensed practical nurse, practicing
Yep.
nurse. Um, and when it comes to making a call to any child care services, once it's a family member, you know, or the hospital, um, or the school, once they
Mm-hmm.
come together or they make that call, um, based on the leverage they have, yeah, they will move in. But the fact that her godmother was almost like a registered nurse, that
And
kind of showed
and
me
that
like how easy it was for them to take Kimani away from her mother.
yeah. So that was a
But
big factor
right,
in it. That made it easier.
you know,
It made it
yeah,
easier for the godmother
and
to make the call, to say there's something not right here. I'm an LPN.
hmm
I know what's right and wrong. I'm going to take
yes,
this child into my care because for whatever reason,
hmm
the mother can't care for her child for reasons we don't know
yep.
yet. I don't know if we'll ever know.
And like I say, Nick, there's so much layers of the story to digest because for me, like grandmother, you done had your time with your children and grown now. Like, why are you still interfering in your children's life? You know,
Well, it's a
I don't see
major interference.
the
Yeah, I
reason for
mean,
that. I
yeah,
really don't.
and just when you hear Tiara talk, she just sounds like a regular, ordinary person to me. She doesn't seem unhinged, you know. She just, I don't know.
Scotty, you have a good point. The falling out has really nothing to do with the child. That should stay between two consenting adults and not bring in. I totally agree, Miss Gotti. And this is what happened when these oversights are missed, when reassessment is missed. Children just slip through the crack, and there's no way Kimani should have been caught up between this rock and a hard place. There's no way. I totally agree.
Yep.
Simple said. I totally agree with you, pretty hard. This is heartbreaking. Yeah, and And like you said, Nick, that's what made it so easy when you really think about it. Um, to just move in like that and just have a whole child removed.
Yeah.
And what's so sad is, stories like this resonate with so many. You could just have it could spring upon you out of nowhere.
Yep. Hey, Chief Peacock. How you doing? Welcome in.
What's up, Chief? What's up? You continue.
Time I ever was really able to see my child, because there are times when I went down there to see my child and she made sure that didn't happen. Um, the only time that she actually let me see my kid is when I came with like a full card full of money to put stuff in the house and buy her things or buy Kei-Mani things and fill up the house with food, all that type of stuff.
Wow. Starting to see a little bit more of what's going on. Really start to see a little bit more. So it wasn't really about the child. It was basically sound like it almost was about, some money in my pocket,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's another scenario what kind of bothers me too, because I've seen that as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get nothing from you, right? But if you're youth here with me, you gotta bring me something too. And that's kind of sad again, so much dysfunction, so much dysfunction.
And that was simply because me and my mother, we've never had a great relationship. I can't speak on the relationship I have or could have had with Kei-Mani, but I know me and my mother, we never got along. My family members have always said that they felt like my mother was jealous of me. So I didn't stay in her household simply because of that. I didn't want to cause chaos in the home where my daughter was living. But yeah, whenever Kei-Mani would do something that my mother didn't like, or if my mother asked me to do something and I didn't, she would cut off contact for us. She would block contact. Block a close eye so that Kei-Mani's not sneaking and talking to me.
Now you kind of see where this kind of start to go contrary now, because if it was just about the care of Kimani, why you have to do all of that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Hey, can you take the comment down? It's taking up a lot of the
it's,
screen.
it's so traumatizing when you look at that.
Yeah. Oh, the family's messed up.
Yeah,
How how
very much
how
so.
grandma got to be the carer of Kei-Mani at all is mind blowing. It's mind blowing when
Yeah,
she had her own children were put into care. So there was obviously a problem way back then. How she got her hands on her grandchild
yeah.
is beyond me. Beyond me.
And there's another fail and reassessment as well, because you know if children's services had done proper and wider research, they would have seen, if they've done their due diligence, they would have seen that, hey, something isn't right here. You know, they would
Yep.
have seen
Hey,
that. I totally
Archangel.
agree with you. Nick. You say Archangel,
Yeah, Archangel's
been a
joined us.
long time, bro. Been a long time, Archangel. Good to see you. Thanks for coming through, man. Thanks for coming through. We continue.
The crowd was yesterday. You were here. I'm assuming the crowd was very upset. Lots of emotions going through too. Especially at this time with such a sensitive situation. Um, you know, we've heard multiple comments out in the crowd, attacking or pointing fingers at your mom.
Mhm.
So, what has it been like trying to be her support system and helping her out?
In a way, you have to be mature enough to decide, am I going to follow along with the crowd, or am I going to, stick around with the loner? I'm to the point where I'm not following nobody. I'm going with what's right. If it was your mother, if it was your niece, would you console your mother? Would you console the person that was closest to her who lived with her? I'm not out to have a torch in the pitchforks and all out to go against anybody except the person who did this, which I believe was her father, Darnell.
Are you worried for Kei-Mani's safety with any of the family members or anyone?
I wouldn't say I was worried, because I was here. I was here every winter break, spring break, holidays, birthdays. I was here for Kei-Mani. Yes, you come and you enjoy time with your family, but I was here for my niece. I also brought my youngest sister and her 2 kids from Indianapolis to be here for Kei-Mani, because we've been in the system. I know how it feels to feel like, dang, I'm at somebody's house, or not wanted. I know those feelings. So I tried to give Kei-Mani that at all times, because she wanted and loved by her aunts.
She said some stuff just now that really opened up my eyes to the situation, because why would your niece, feel unwanted in the presence of your grandmother? I mean, the presence of your mother, which is her, grandmother. That was very telling to me. And the
Yeah.
fact that she said they were in the system as well. So
Yep.
that's another
Well,
factor.
I think that's why that sister, Sonika, was there for her niece, because she knew what her mother was like. That's all I can think of.
Hmm. Yeah, but being there birthdays and holidays, that still doesn't mean you there, because what about the in
No.
betweens?
Yeah, that's right.
And then the mere fact that you aren't there. The neighborhood is always there, but you aren't there. And the fact that you out here to windmill, but
Yeah,
yet you still
and
ain't being firm with what
yeah,
you.
but Dad had access. Dad was given access, but Mum wasn't. Well, it was very limited access that Tiara got, but Dad had access whenever he wanted.
Hmm.
Darnell.
But another thing too, when you look at it, yeah, I totally agree. But when you look at it too, um, Sanika is actually revealing what the neighborhood already knew.
Yeah,
That's why they were outraged.
you're right.
If you
Yep,
really add it all up,
yep, yep. You're right.
yeah, wanted and loved by her aunts. But guess what? She didn't even say by her grandmother.
Mhm. Yeah, she didn't.
Yeah, the person she's living with. And she says she comes to make sure of that.
Yep.
So it's
Mhm.
definitely sound like some tension is being in the house.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. Mhm.
you let it play on. Pretty art, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay.
All right, sis.
What were some of the things, trying to think of her and paint a memory of her in a good light, right now with everything that's going on, what was Kei-Mani like? Tell me a little bit about how Kei-Mani was in the time that you've got to know her.
Kei-Mani was phenomenal. Kei-Mani was a helper. Like she was older than what she appeared to be. Like, you know how they say somebody has an old soul? She was that. She loved older music. She loved playing video games. She loved the friends and family that she was allowed to be around. She played basketball for Spring Elementary. Highly intelligent. So I'd like to clear up the mental issue statements. No, she was not mentally ill in any way. We had her, assessed, and they didn't feel as if anything was wrong with her mentally. So that was not a issue. But back to Kei-Mani, she would, like, say for instance, someone would come over and they had children. They didn't have to worry about their kids because Kei-Mani immediately embraced them and would play with them, you know, kid stuff. She was phenomenal. Like I said, she was like no other kid her age.
You know, what y'all think about that? I gotta ask the audience that. What y'all think about that? Were you close? And the fact that she said um Kei-Mani was phenomenal. She was a great helper. Really? That don't sound strange.
How can she be a phenomenal kid to you, but she wasn't being acknowledged?
So fair. So.
And she was being very harshly disciplined by grandma. I'm just going to add that in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound right to me. That sounds like
And
hmm
another thing. Go ahead, pretty eye. Sorry.
it just sounds like to me that she was just saying that just to say that to cover something up. Because if you're going to know that your child is a phenomenal child or grandchild, you acknowledge them by knowing that they're there and not mistreating them.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I agree, Darcy. Sounds absolutely strange coming from grandma. And she actually said something that was very telling just now. She said friends and family that Kei-Mani was allowed to be around. Remember, her mother said that um she would make sure Kei-Mani would not. She would actually have people watching Kei-Mani to make sure she doesn't sneak and talk to her.
Yeah, I
When
don't
you start to
understand
think
any of
about
that.
some of these things,
I don't.
yeah, why would you
This
want to stop your? Why would,
it's very disturbing. It disturbs me.
yeah,
It makes no sense.
and what would Kei-Mani call her mom and tell her anyway? Maybe the
Well,
reason why the neighborhood was so
aha,
enraged.
aha. Now, now you just got to it then. So there were reports put into LCS of some abuse by grandma of using excessive force when disciplining Kei-Mani, right? So that could be the reason
Yeah,
that grandma did not want Kei-Mani talking to her mother to dob on her, to say, this is what's happening in the house. This is what she's doing to me.
exactly.
Okay.
hmm And what's another? It's sad to think about it, but you have to look at all the possibilities. If Kei-Mani was troubled that night, that she heard someone trying to get into the house, if her grandmother didn't block her phone from calling her mom, wouldn't you
Yep.
think that would have been good? She could have called her mom right there and then. Mom, come get me.
Yeah.
Something just seemed right.
But I just want to add something in here right now, Temper. Now, seeing as Darnell, her father, Kei-Mani's father, has admitted to doing what he did, and he was the person that Kei-Mani called to say, I think there's someone trying to break into the house. Is there? This just dawned on me right now, right? Is there a possibility that it was Darnell creating some noise outside the house, so that Kei-Mani would call him? Just a thought.
And when you really think about, you know, Toledo, in general, Ohio. You know, the registry offenders map. I mean, there's so many red. You know, um, yeah, a lot of it was a really rough neighborhood as well, Nick. You know,
Well,
just there was
do you want me to put that up?
yeah,
All right.
you can show that.
All right. Give me a second.
And that was very strange to me, you know, the fact that Kimani was only allowed to be around certain family, you know. That was
Hmm.
very strange for me. I couldn't get that part out of my head because that could have been the whole turning point right there. If she had access and her phone wasn't blocked,
Hmm.
she could have called her mom on
She
another.
sounds very controlled.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's the two map images of the dots. Tempo, if you want to put them up and explain what they are.
I don't. Okay.
All right. You want to explain what all this is?
All right. This is the area in which Kimani lived on Toledo. I mean, Elm Street, Toledo. So this would be one offender on the street ahead. This would be another one here, another one here.
Which explain the red
These,
dots? 'Cause I can't see
these,
Elm Street on the map.
can you see the map now?
Oh, I can see Elm Street. Yeah, no, I just couldn't find Elm Street on the map.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got
This,
it now. It's right in the middle.
this, this is Elm Street where Kimani lived. You know, these red dots, um, these are the actual predators. Um, there's one there, and two on Sherman Street. I guess Chestnut Street as well.
So these are
Um,
known people on the registry. Yeah,
yep,
right.
you know.
And they were surrounding the house basically where Grandma lived.
Yeah, so being a rough neighborhood, that's another thing too. The law in Ohio doesn't really question. It says it's up to the parent and discretion whether a child be home alone at a certain time. But to me, I still question the fact that why she had to be home alone in general in such a
Well,
rough neighborhood.
it sounds like she was home alone all the time because Grandma was working through the night. So she was at home alone every night. If Grandma was working and coming home at around the time where Kimani goes to school, she had a night shift job. So how long was that going on? Anyway.
That's another. Um, Well, however long it was going on, I mean, it seemed to be a routine because, like she said, Kimani was a latchkey kid.
Yeah, she had a key to the house, meaning.
Yeah, but another thing would stick me too. If if she called Donnell to find out if Kimani was there or not, why didn't she tell that to the? Why didn't she put that in the 911 call?
Well, yeah, so this is the thing. So Grandma said that Monday morning is when she was missing from the house, right?
Yeah, when she
But
came home from work.
but if you listen to the start of the report, it says she was missing Sunday evening from 10 p.m. How do they know that? How do they know that? If Grandma's saying one thing and the report's saying another thing, how do they know this?
But they have to have either phone triangulation of the cell phone, or they could have had CCTV footage.
I think it's got to do with what we haven't gotten to yet, which we'll hear about it when we hear Darnell talk. So,
Hmm?
will we get back into the video?
Yep, right now.
now the police are looking for Darnell Jones, and there's an arrest warrant out for him. Do you have any idea of his whereabouts?
To my knowledge, he was just arrested in Columbus. The police in Columbus, they're saying that he confessed to her murder and
Trigger warning.
I take that back. They're saying that he confessed to her rape and slitting her throat.
Trigger warning.
You know, that's the yeah, trigger. You know, this the only time you actually saw a little emotion for the grandma.
Yeah.
Like
Yep, that's the
seriously,
only time.
all this time, nothing during the 911 call, nothing when she came home and met the house in disarray.
Yep.
Even sound like nothing when she found the glasses and the keys. Nothing
Yep.
up to now. I agree. Really, no child. Yes, no child should be left at home in a rough neighborhood like that at night.
Through the night. Through the night,
None.
every night, when
Like that's
everyone
why I
knows
say this hits so hard home for me because yeah, and you know when I think about how deep relationships and dysfunction can go, um, whether me and my daughter's mom like in good communications or not or good relations or not, like I never want to get to that level where it get to this, you know.
Yeah.
I know I would never want
No,
that.
you just
That's why this touch
you definitely
my
don't.
heart, you know.
Yeah, you definitely do not. And you know, I was a stepmother, you know, for a good 10 years, and my stepdaughter was a missing person for 10 days. So it was horrific and stressful and emotional, and it was just, yeah, it was just terrific. But I just wanted to go back and say something about grandma. So if grandma had a night shift job, everyone that knew grandma knew that grandma was not home every night, and she left her grandchild vulnerable every single night when she went to work. I'm just saying that.
Yep. Yeah, it's so many layers. Like I say, the dysfunction, and the thing about it, you went up against your daughter, the the biological mother. For what reason we don't know. You decide to do this. I mean, there are grounds in which they could move like that. You know, whether the person is too young, whether they're unfit, living conditions. But to
Mm-hmm.
even do that, to intervene in your child's life by removing her child from her.
Yep.
What was the reason to have her in the house all by herself?
It's not very. It's not a safe situation.
No.
So she was taken out of one situation. Kei-Mani was taken away from her own mother and put into another situation where she was possibly even more vulnerable. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it just it really gets to me when I think about it because at the end of the day, through this whole thing, I'm thinking, where is Kimani's voice?
Well, she was controlled by grandma. Archangel's asking how old she was. She was 13.
She was 12,
Archangel.
actually 12. She was a week before her 13th birthday.
Oh, I thought she was a week before her 14th birthday. And anyway,
So
very young.
yeah, very young. But if she was 12 and it was a week before her 13th birthday, yeah. And the thing about it, a few days before this happened, her mom was just up there to see her, you know.
Yeah.
But based on how the grandmother, Dorothy, the way she ran her castle, if Tiara didn't come up there with a whole heap of money enough to put something in her pocket and, buy
Yep.
things for money, and put things in
Mhm.
the cupboard. Like
Yep.
don't come, like don't come at all. And you can imagine driving that amount of distance just because you don't have a few couple $100. Like you drive all the way for nothing.
Yep.
Because she did say the grandmother denied her visitation sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know.
I better get back in this video, Tim.
You know, as the police report mentions, Kimani was last seen with Darnell. You know, do you have any regrets of letting Kimani go with, as you're her guardian? Do you have any regrets of letting Kimani go with Darnell? Or
I do. I do, only because, like I said, I feel deceived. I feel like this was pre-planned. I feel like you meant to do this. I feel like you was grooming her.
Can you pause it? Can you pause it, Temper?
when you say grooming her, is there things that you saw
Okay.
before this leading up?
No, there I
This
With
is really important.
something stand out.
Yep. This is really super important. So the reporter just asked Grandma, "Do you have any regrets allowing Kei-Mani to go with Darnell?" Allowing. So that to me says, and I'm sorry I'm yelling, that to me says everything. It says that Grandma allowed Kei-Mani that night that she went missing to go with her father. That's what that statement just told me.
It also tells me that, like you say, as you go down further, you will hear that Kimani would spend weekends with Daniel and his,
Yeah, I know,
who life.
but yeah, but specifically, I feel like the reporter just unveiled what happened that night.
Okay.
But we've got heaps more to get through. So
Well, Archangel, sir, uncommonly, my daughter's 13. Look at that situation. She is with my oldest daughter, but she has to put up with it. Wow, she wants to. Yep, yep, that's
so
how
this
it be, Archangel. Crazy works. Crazy
so
work.
this yeah, this hits home with lots of people with kids the same age.
Yeah, Darcy's a very important statement. Yep.
Mm.
And that's another thing I look at too, because if you waking like at your age, Dorothy, like when you get time to deal with any young teenager at the time, welfare will place the child wherever, and the moment they sign that child to them, they wipe their hands because they are confirmed as sound by welfare. So welfare have, yeah, and that's the failed part in the doing the reassessment right there, Archangel. If they do their reassessment, they would have seen like, okay, we could move this, or yeah, this ain't gonna work for now. Back then it could have worked, but yeah, conditions change now. You're right. You're so right, brother. You're so right.
I never saw anything out the ordinary. But when molesters decide to choose prey, they groom you first. They give you gifts. They try and make you comfortable with them. They try and say little things to you that you and they can keep secret, and then eventually they pounce.
Was very telling as well. All of a sudden she didn't know nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, like she didn't know. She had no idea, like what was going on. But now all of a sudden, because the tables turn a bit, she could admit,
Hmm.
oh yeah, they give you gifts, they this to you, they choose. Like all of a sudden, you notice. That's
Yeah.
another thing when you with guardianship, feel guardianship. Now you know. Now you want to know how to act responsible.
Hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Now you wanna start dotting the I's and crossing the T's, saying, okay, this should have been this and this shouldn't have been that.
Yep.
And that's how I feel that what, oh God, where how all of this is played out, I feel that's what happened. She was a virgin. She didn't like boys.
She didn't like boys.
Hmm. I mean, the emotions just start pouring like a river.
Mm-hmm. So, and the other thing, so if grandma knows all of the signals of what a predator would do, then it was happening right in front of her face. I think that's why she was getting upset.
Hmm. And see, that's what I look at the 911 call at too, because investigators got to treat information as number one priority.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we be embarrassed to give certain information, but you can't look at the embarrassment. You got to give up the information. Like you said just now, she actually said it.
Yep.
She claimed she didn't know at first, but 10 seconds later, she have all answers.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, she had the answers because she was putting all of the blame on Dad. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. And it was it was shifting any responsibility in this off her. That's why she was doing it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why she was so glad to literally drop everything off. You know,
Yep.
like you
Yep.
say, like we just say, she was ready to turn crown right away.
Yep.
There's also comments, and we're just trying to address those and get those addressed. But there's comments online and speculation again that, you know, Kei-Mani, her home situation, she was abused. What do you have to say to that?
Okay, abuse in whose eyes? Because she was not abused. She was chastised whenever she was wrong or did things wrong. Other than that, she
Crocodile
was not
tears.
abused. She was not just whooped for no.
You say pause it?
I said crocodile tears. She immediately stopped crying and being emotional. Then it stopped
Oh,
like it. Yeah, it was so fast. She switched so fast, like the crying wasn't even real.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, cause she literally trying to defend herself now. So, like you say, her emotions in this whole interview is so disconnected. You know?
Well, they're not real. None of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
reason or just because I felt like it.
It's
I've went through this twice because the school system had contacted CSP or CSB on her behalf when she went to Bennett Academy. And they came in, they did a case study and closed it. They've stated there's a way to chastise children without physically harming them. And you need to whoop them on their behind, nowhere else. So, okay, with that in mind, I knew that.
So she knew that because there were, I think, 1 or 2 cases where LCS got involved because of this alleged abuse in the home by grandma. So
Yeah.
grandma was redirected as to the correct way to chastise a child. That's why she just said what she said.
Yeah. So the specialized program is Ohio Rise. They care for youth with complex behavioral and multi-system needs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the care program she was recommended to by the LCCS. But
And wasn't it one of the school teachers that noticed some bruises on Kei-Mani and alerted LCS?
yeah, we getting down to that.
Okay,
But
right here.
um, but the thing about it is, she actually said, I mean, let's take it back even further. Her own children was taken from her and placed in foster homes. Why?
Yeah. Why?
Was it because of methods like this?
Possibly. Yeah,
You know?
who knows? I don't know. But how Kei-Mani ended up with Grandma, it's still a mystery. But anyway.
Yeah. And the thing about it, like she said, she, with that in mind, she knew that. So I mean, that clearly says so. What she did to Kei-Mani was intentional.
And look at Miss Gothy's comment. But I thought she was an angel and she did nothing wrong. You know, she was praising Kei-Mani
But I
before.
thought,
You know,
and she did right, Miss Garvey. She was phenomenal. She was like no other.
yep,
You know,
she
she
was
was
so
a great
good.
helper.
Yeah.
Yeah, her exact
hmm
words. Darcy said. Oh, with Dorothy, Kei-Mani was chastised. How do you put hands on? Yep, very unacceptable, Darcy. Very unacceptable. Michael said you can't smack kids anywhere. You will be charged down under. And kids nowadays are like floss.
They bruise
They
easy.
bruise easy. Yep, they bruise easy. Yep,
Yep.
and are not as robust as us. Exactly. You're
hmm
right. So, anyhow, seems like everyone is on board. Let me just continue it because,
Yep. Yep. Go
yeah,
on.
the
Get
poop's
into it.
starting up. Everything's starting to line up.
So she didn't have like bruises all over.
In her 13 years, Kei-Mani moved through 6 different schools. And tonight we're hearing from people who say they saw signs of abuse.
At Kei-Mani's last school, Bennett Venture Academy, her English teacher says she noticed bruises. She said she reached out to child services, but nothing changed.
It's hard because especially in a role like education, your day doesn't end at 3:30. You take these things home with you. They weigh on you. I'm a parent myself, and I tried my best to make sure that she was removed from that environment to make her have a safe place. And it just fell
Wow.
on deaf ears. And I think that had she been investigated more, this was looked more into, she would 100% be alive today.
Kei-Mani moved to Spring Elementary School this year. It's a Toledo public school. We talked with a classmate there with their parents' permission. They echoed the stories of bruises her former teacher shared.
She came to school with bruises on her arms, and then they asked her, and she said that she was her grandma was being, fighting her and stuff, and she was her grandma.
Now, it is important to note, Kei-Mani's grandma is not charged with any crimes. A spokesperson for TPS did tell WTOL 11 the district did not have any record of complaints filed with Toledo Police or Children's Services. Kei-Mani's grandmother and legal guardian, Dorothy Latigue, did admit in an exclusive interview with WTOL 11 that Children's Services had been at her home twice. She said she was not charged and Kei-Mani continued to live with her.
Not charged,
So, wow. And I felt that teacher. I felt because, when you dealing with that type of job, you see all type of things. And like she said, your job your day just don't end at 3 o'clock. Sometimes you
Of
take
course
what
not.
you see, you take that home with you. And,
And this,
she said,
and
right.
well, this is when people take their duty of care in their role, whatever that role is in life, when they take their duty of care seriously, things should work in the favor of the duty of care, and it didn't in this case. She tried her hardest to get Kei-Mani removed from Grandma because she saw the abuse. She said she tried her hardest, and it failed.
Yeah.
And now we have a young girl who is no longer here. So so many things failed Kei-Mani. So many things.
And, just get ready, let everyone hear the mission statement for Lucas County Children's Services. This is their mission statement. Our mission is to lead the community in the protection of children at risk of abuse and neglect. This is accomplished by working with family center providers, working with family service providers and community members to assess risk and coordinate community-based services, resulting in safe and stable community families for children. I don't think they was listening to anything on this mission statement.
No, and Darcy's comment, even Ohio Child Services failed this lovely child, why was she moved so many times from school to school, right? So imagine just for 1 second that this abuse had been going on a long time, and every time the abuse was flagged by a teacher, then grandma decided to change schools because the situation was getting too hot. That's just
Yep.
That's just a thought that I'm putting out there.
Yep. Michael said neglect is everywhere, even in the welfare, under welfare, more children are at risk and they yes, I totally agree. And you'll be surprised, I mean, only because this story made, headlines when it was last year. There's so many more like this, you know? There's so much more. And like Miss Gaudi said, she also knows how to play the system. You're right, like that goes right back to what you just said, Nick. When you see the get so high, move. When it gets so high, move.
Yep.
But
Move the kid.
this is
Continue the abuse.
yeah.
Move the kid.
And within the power that Lucas County Children's Services has, you know, their duty, even with this big, powerful model statement, they didn't do it because they could have done their due diligence. They really could have. Like the
Yep.
teacher said, she tried. She really, really tried.
And
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 I
how many more?
felt
Yeah,
that.
and how many more teachers tried? This is the other thing we don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
We continue.
From there, we got more information today about Kei-Mani's case with Lucas County Children's Services. The agency says the most recent reports were made in December of 2023 and March of 2024 in relation to her well-being. Megan Hartnett, she joins us live downtown now. Megan, tell us, had there been any other reports at all?
Jeff, the only other report was in 2011 when Kei-Mani was an infant. Randy Muth, the executive director of Lucas County Children's Services, says there is no record of any reports made after March of 2024. When the reports were made in 2023 and 2024, Muth says investigations were immediately started. He says LCCS workers went to the home and they spoke with Kei-Mani, other people who knew the family, and conducted background checks. Muth says there was no reason found for Kei-Mani to be removed from the home. In both investigations, both Kei-Mani and the grandmother.
You hear that, Nick? We had that pretty hot. You all right? I know this is just a moment for you. Hope you all right, sis. So apparently, when LCCS got those reports about the situation at Dorothy Latigue's home, upon doing their investigation, they didn't find nothing. No reason for her to be removed.
Because grandma knows how to play the system.
Yeah. And another thing too, when it comes to the child placement, they have their procedures that they would look to see, once the child's needs are being met and, everything is, in tip top shape, like they would leave the child there, you know. And I find that to be pretty strange that you got two incidents, but yet still find no reason not to remove the child, even after the school made complaints.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, let me let it play.
Dorothy Latigue had said they were the only two in the household. LCCS says neither identified Darnell Jones, the man accused of Kei-Mani's murder, and there is no mention of Darnell Jones in any of LCCS
LCCS's records. The grandmother has told WTOL 11 that Darnell Jones had been in her house and that he had taken Kei-Mani to his house for weekends on multiple occasions. Now, it isn't clear if this was not disclosed to LCCS or if these visits happened after March of 2024, when the last recorded report was made to LCCS. Muth says if a father for Kei-Mani had been identified, the cases may have been handled differently.
If our database had indicated we had an identified established father, we would have been required to reach out to that individual. If the child had identified, hey, this gentleman is dad, or he is a support, or I view him as dad, we would have reached out. Those did not occur in December or March of last year.
Muth says Kei-Mani's placement with Dorothy met all the needs when it comes to housing, education, and medical conditions. Muth also says Kei-Mani transferring to multiple schools over the past few years did not raise any flags for them, as they trust families to make the decision for children's education.
Kei-Mani, from the care of her grandmother, we provided short-term services and referred the family to other community supports. Again, our last referral of child abuse or neglect with respect to Kei-Mani was received on March 21st, 2024, more than 1 year prior to her murder.
The executive director of Lucas County Children's Services says he's aware of reports that other people called in involving Kei-Mani, but his agency doesn't have any record of that. So he's asking anyone who believes they may have called Lucas County Children's Services regarding Kei-Mani within the past year to call the Family Center hotline. That number is 419-213-3833. That number is also on your screen. This is a different number than the agency's child abuse prevention hotline.
As the community continues to mourn the loss of the little girl, questions have surfaced about her safety leading up to her death and whether there were any red flags that potentially were missed. During a recent news conference, Lucas County Children's Services responded to concerns about Kei-Mani's grandmother, including prior reports, disciplinary practices, and whether the young girl ever expressed fear or discomfort about her home life. Officials also addressed how they assess a children's safety when concerns of abuse come up.
Question for you about grandma. Did grandma have kids in her care, and did she have any kids removed from her care by Children's Services?
Yeah, unfortunately, that exceeds the statutory authority I have. I can only talk about this particular case.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What you mean? You had that, Nick?
What did he say?
Say, didn't grandma have her children removed? And the first thing he said was that type of information proceeds, you know.
Okay. Yep.
So
Yep.
that would be that would be the first red flag right there, because
So yeah, they didn't look into grandma thoroughly before they. Yep.
I don't even think they looked at all.
No.
Because remember now, when these little things happen, you know, like Tiara said, the hospital told her that, you know, if she comes back up here, because they already took the baby from her, that they would charge her for criminal trespass.
Yeah.
But a few days later, at, you know, maybe at the same hospital, or I think at Lucas County Children's Services, they had a little private staff meeting. And this is where Lucas County Children's Services told her that since she did not return to the hospital to feed her child, they would be charging her with neglect. So that's two different scenarios.
It is, and Miss Gothy just said something interesting. So she has people on the inside helping her cover it up as well. Now that's interesting because the godmother, whose name we don't know, who looked after Kei-Mani from 9 months old until only 4 or 5 years ago, she was the what's the term?
LPN.
She was the
licensed
LPN. Now I wonder if the godmother had anything to do with child services, if she had a role working for them. So that's very interesting. Pretty Heart, maybe you need to temper. Maybe Pretty Heart needs to drop down and come back in.
Okay.
And let her back up. Come back in, Pretty Heart.
I think her mic is still muted. Her mic is muted. Yeah, her mic is muted.
Yeah.
Let me let her come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they basically showed like a lot of the ball drop. But
Oh.
remember too, Nick, they didn't really had to it didn't have to really go to court. Once they have, that little meeting, that
Yeah.
could have stayed right there. So the fact
Mhm.
now that he ain't trying to really go back into none of that, that tells me a lot because, I sure Dorothy, like the interviewer, like the question was asked,
Mhm.
did she not have her children removed? And he's saying, we can't go into that. So
That's
that's number
beyond our
one.
records. Yeah.
Yeah, that's number one red flag right there. Let me
Yep.
continue.
Okay, because I've heard concerns from people that were children taken and they couldn't figure out why Kei-Mani was still there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm only allowed to talk about Kei-Mani's case.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's only allowed.
And that's weird. So he knows about it. They know about it, but they're not allowed to talk about it. That's really bizarre.
They say a picture says 1,000 words. What you think about that expression?
Yep. Guilty
Disappointment.
and
Total
guilty.
disappointment. Yep. Guilty. Let me see pretty hard again. Trying to come back in. All right. I think StreamYard kick out.
Yeah, if you can hear us pretty hard, you'll have to hit the link again that Temper sent you and come back in.
In the discussions that investigators had with her, did she deny that there was any abuse in this 23 and 24 interaction? Can you describe to us what she was saying to your investigators?
Well, you use the term abuse, which is actually a legal term. Grandmother did indicate and did admit that she had used physical discipline.
And was Kei-Mani okay with it?
I think Kei-Mani stated she understood the reason for it, but I don't know that she was so okay with it.
So, Nick, what do you think about that statement when the little girl said her grandmother was fighting and she had bruises all over her body?
Yeah, well,
What,
it was abuse.
why would she say, she understand? I don't
So
understand.
yeah, what he means is that Kei-Mani understood that she was being disciplined, and then the reporter said, "But was Kei-Mani okay with it?" And that man there said, "I don't think she was okay with it." Right?
Exactly. Because what
Because it
child
was
would?
too much. It was corporal punishment. That's the big red letters that were up on the screen earlier on when the news was on. So anyway, keep playing.
Yeah.
But did she ever, I guess, was she okay with what had happened to the point where she was okay staying in the home?
Yes, Kei-Mani indicated on both occasions and to school officials that she felt safe in the home.
And how do you parse that out when the adults in the room and there may be other external pressures? How do you parse out that kid is really telling you what he or she really feels and just isn't worried about that person standing in the corner of the other room?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we speak with the child alone. And I understand that that might be different than speaking elsewhere. That's why we look at other collateral sources, look at other statements that the child has made. We ask her what her supports are, and then we follow up with those.
And the grandmother has said before that, she was corrected in how to properly handle situations like this. And she said that she was told, one swat on the butt. Is that something that a caseworker or anyone would ever tell a guardian that that's appropriate?
Lucas County Children's Services does not endorse, and we don't recommend the use of any corporal punishment. However, Ohio law does state that that is a decision that is reserved to the parents, and that if parents decide in using their exclusive judgment to use corporal punishment, we do provide guidance on how to do that. And we would say to use, if you have to do that, use an open hand on a non-sensitive area. Don't leave marks. Don't use an object.
Was there any sort of background check done into the grandmother?
Yes.
Was there anything that raised any flags based off of her criminal history?
There were not.
You see how he contradicted himself just now?
Yep.
Big time. Big time. But, you know, not to admit defeat or to admit they were wrong. Well, you know, this the game they got to play. But he just contradicted himself.
Kei-Mani attended multiple schools over the past few years. She was most recently at Toledo Public Spring Elementary. Children's Services said it did not receive any reports of alleged abuse from TPS, but did from her previous school, Bennett Venture Academy. That's one of the two cases it investigated. So we asked, does changing schools often raise any red flags?
So after the abuse was alerted to LCS by the teacher that we heard earlier, she was moved to a different school. See the pattern?
Yep.
There you go. All right, you can play now.
You mentioned that her school needs were being met. I mean, she had been at multiple schools, transferred multiple times. Did that raise any flags to you guys or alert you of any potential issues?
No, that point's been brought up, and that's a great point, and I understand that. No, we respect the family's ability to determine what's best. In fact, we encourage families to come together without the assistance or interference of the state of Ohio or Lucas County.
You know what? Gee, they've got an easy job, haven't they? They don't have to do much. They just throw it back to the family and go, oh, you guys deal with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was so glad you picked up on that part because he was just looking for a back door to just weasel his way out.
Well, I think his back door is real tight while he's doing this interview, but anyway.
Is in the best interest of their families. We're not going to second guess whether a child is moved 2 times, 3 times, or 6 times. As long as the child educational needs are being met, then we trust the families to make those decisions.
We don't have time for that.
Can you also kind of discuss in just general terms what it takes or at what point a child is removed from a home?
Yeah. Well, anytime that we believe that the child is in imminent risk of physical harm, or, well, let me back up. So if we believe that, we have 2 courses open to us. We can make a determination as to whether we believe the family can and will work with us and ensure the safety of the children. If the answer to that question is yes, then we'll try to work with the family before going to court. If the answer to that question is no, that despite the reasonable efforts that we have made, this family or this child remains at risk, then we have to go to court. It's important to understand Lucas County Children's Service, no children's services agency in Ohio can remove children. We're the only ones who can't. Police officers can.
You see that right there? That's what pissed me off right there because you literally said, you have all the people agency that can, you guys can. That can't, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that, you use your best resource so that you follow protocol. But to me, that's where the gray area come because y'all allow the families to still work with y'all and y'all look within the means within that confinement to see that the job is done. That's where the laziness come in because Kei-Mani's situation was an exception.
It was, but maybe it's not as well. So if anything comes out of this, I hope that in that state that from now on, if a child gets moved around too many times, school to school to school, they need to have a look at why.
Yes. They need to do more checks in these gray areas because even though some of these gray areas are, technically legal, they could use some reassessment,
Yeah.
They really could.
They're meant to be protecting the children, not the families.
Mm-hmm. As always.
Courts can. What we have to do in that circumstance is take those facts to a neutral, impartial magistrate or judge, and that neutral or impartial magistrate or judge makes those determinations.
A number of people in the community are asking tough questions about who was and wasn't involved in Kei-Mani's life and care. That includes those questions that center around the role of the man identified as her father, Darnell Jones. Again, the work agency had any knowledge of a paternal figure and how that could have impacted their investigation or placement decisions had he been identified.
If Dad was part, if it ever had surfaced in a conversation, or if he had come up, would that have made your work any different? Would the caseworker have handled it any differently if Dad's listed or mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's a father that's identified, we have to talk with all the principals in the case. So the identified can be two ways. One, established as the father in the case, and we have a record of that, or the child can identify somebody that they view either as a father, an alleged father, or an actual father. So if either one of those things had happened, if our database had indicated we had an identified established father, we would have been required to reach out to that individual.
You hear that right there, Nick? So
Yeah.
even during the times when they had the opportunity to go to the house during the two incidents, you mean to tell me as long as Kei-Mani was there, you mean to tell me she never once told him that this Darnell Jones is her father?
Yeah, well,
Or he did,
his
or he did
language.
be around?
His language was strange. What he was using then, he was saying established father or actual father. So I don't know what the case is. I guess it's just strange.
Yeah, it isn't on. They have no record. It isn't even on record if he is Kei-Mani's father or not.
Yep. Now I did look into that. I did look into this at the time, because we've done a lot of research on this case. So the father does not have to be listed on the birth certificate in the US. It's not a legal requirement. So that's I think that's what he means by established father, because Darnell is not listed, I don't believe, on the birth certificate. I think that's why he's throwing this language around. So
Yep, I agree, Darcy. Ohio Child Services, y'all really need to do better. Really need to do better.
And their children's services, not family services, they're children's services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he telling a whole lot right now, but it also should make me feel as if, even though he said they had Kei-Mani separated from the grandmother when he did the interview, the fact that she still never said that, and based on what we've already discovered, Kei-Mani would spend weekends by this man, or with him and his other girlfriend and their child or whatever. So this another thing when it comes to making responsible decisions as a legal guardian,
Yeah, and if you think about what I just said before, if Darnell was not listed as the father on her birth certificate, allegedly, right? We don't know this for sure. Then why was he given so much access to her when Mum wasn't, when Tiara was not? The man that was not even listed as the father was given access. Take her away from grandma, spend weekends with him. And then he's the one that's responsible for her unaliving. This is just unbelievable.
It just goes from high to low quick.
Yep, sure does.
If the child had identified, hey, this gentleman is dad, or he is a support, or I view him as dad, we would have reached out. Those did not occur in December or March of last year.
And would that have changed what you would have done when it comes to a placement with her if dad had surfaced?
No, I suppose it depends on what we would have learned. From whoever was identified as dad. But no, I mean, we determined that the placement there was appropriate. All the basic needs of the child were being met. She was getting all of her sustenance, her housing conditions were fine, her school and medical conditions were being met. So the presence of a father would not have caused us, I think, to recommend to the juvenile court that they change custody or placement.
I go pause it right here. This is the record that Dorothy Latigue was made public. These are some of the things the Lucas County Children's Services saying, they couldn't find, or, it was out of their jurisdiction to search. So from 1998 onward, Dorothy experienced repeated legal troubles, beginning with a forgery conviction, followed by multiple issues related to theft, driving violations, and providing false information to officers. In 2002, she was sentenced to 2 months for assault with a deadly weapon.
Wow.
And by 2004, she had a domestic violence case. Further incidents continued, including obstructing in 2008, an aggravated assault in 2009. In 2011, she faced a dismissed menacing charge, then was found guilty of disorderly conduct later that year. Then again on December 27, 2012, she was convicted of second-degree felony robbery. In 2015, I'm telling you, it's almost like
Keep going.
Yeah, she faced additional felonious charges, including a felonious assault with a $25,000 bond. Most recently, on September 4, 2018, another domestic violence case was recorded.
Wow. And how Kei-Mani was ever placed in her care, I do not understand.
I swear to Ra, it baffles me.
But that's just one element, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the second element, I mean, Grandma is not the person who caused, like, directly, maybe indirectly, but not directly caused the unaliving of Kei-Mani, right? That was her father. But this element here that you're talking about relates to child services.
Yeah.
And why they should have looked into her history before. That is a long rap sheet. It's too long. And all I see is assault, assault, assault. I can say the word assault so many times. So many times.
I'm telling you, it's almost like, and the thing about it now, you could see where the attitude, where you see her demeanor, like you could see she cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes for mom, grandparents, and family are apart. Yep. Miss Gotti, that's a long rap sheet.
It's too long.
Yep.
And 2018. So when
Hey, pretty, you're back.
So 2018. When did Kei-Mani lose her life? What year?
Last year, 2025.
So 2025. And how long had she been in Grandma's care?
They say about what, 5 years?
So does that coincide with this 2018 domestic violence case? Was Kei-Mani in her care during that time?
No, Kei-Mani was in the care of her godmother.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know if you've got more, if there's more there with Tiara talking about how Kei-Mani was given to Grandma. Is that coming up? If it is, I won't talk about it.
I think we didn't cover that. You was way ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Miss Gothy. I couldn't do the maths.
yeah. But yeah. Why, if this is public record, you mean tell me LCCS couldn't find this? They say.
Well,
Be,
they couldn't talk it. They weren't allowed to talk about it.
yeah,
That's what
and I
he
think
said.
it.
I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Hmm. But this is very serious though.
Oh,
Menacing charges, guilty of disorderly conduct, guilty
domestic violence.
of violation to officers. Yeah,
And women getting charged with domestic violence that's some serious stuff.
yeah, $25,000 bond.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is
And
real. This
and
is the real Bonnie and Clyde.
what I want to know, which I probably won't ever find out, is who was the domestic violence against? A child? A
Well,
man? A man? Who? Like who was she? Who was she attacking?
Well, I didn't draw it out too long, but some of the remember Tiara said, her and her mom never got along, and
Hmm.
because of that, the family members would always say the mother kind of jealous of her, and because of that friction and that tension in the home, she
Hmm.
didn't want her daughter to be around that. So you
Yeah.
know, yeah, grandma, she wasn't easy.
No.
Not at all. So some of the stuff, like I was saying, some of the cases was actually involving our own daughter.
Mhm. Pretty hard. Welcome back. Do you want the floor for a second so you can say something if you want?
You good, pretty hard?
This whole this whole story is just mm, just mind boggling.
What do
It's
you think of that?
just
What do you think of that rap sheet of grandma?
it was ridiculous.
Hmm.
It was ridiculous. It was.
Yeah,
That's all I can really say. It's just it's.
very much so. Because,
Mm-mm.
uh-oh,
Where'd you go, Temper?
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Okay. All right. You disappeared. All right. We're going to go on with the video.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out why pretty hard was muffling just now. Okay.
Okay.
This is Donnell Ogletree Jones, criminal record. A rough summary of it. That beginning from 2010, Donnell Jones encountered a series of criminal charges, including misdemeanors and petty thefts involving amounts of over $750. His legal troubles escalated in 2011 when he was charged with fourth-degree felony, arson, and later that same year with felonious assault involving deadly weapons. By 2015, he faced multiple firearm related offenses, followed by a charge for carrying a concealed weapon in approximately 2018. In 2022, he was charged with possession of a controlled substance, and most recently, in March of 2025, just last year, he was again accused of felonious assault, a case that remains open. So between grandma and Daniel, wow, no background work at all.
Sorry.
Kei-Mani's father says he saw his daughter late Sunday night after she called him afraid to be home alone.
I came over here because she said that if it seemed like somebody was trying to break into the house. So I sat for an hour, me and my cousin, we sat over here. And
anyone notice that move just now?
Yep.
She quickly pulled on the side like, what? But I felt as though that right there was a little too much because I think she already knew Kei-Mani, or he was the last to see Kei-Mani. But this was for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt this was all for the camera.
We left
Oh,
around
wow.
like 12:30ish.
Here's what we've learned in the last few hours. Police say a SWAT team found Kei-Mani's dad, Darnell Jones, in Columbus. There was reportedly an altercation and officers shot Jones. Officials say they recovered a gun and Jones is expected to survive.
Lucas County Coroner's Office also releasing Kei-Mani's cause of death. An autopsy showed that she died from multiple wounds to the neck.
She told me that Darnell Jones has never been violent toward her, and she told me that she doesn't know why he killed Kei-Mani.
Honey used to be over my house all the time, and we loved her. And now she gonna have to grow up without seeing her sister anymore. I mean, I don't feel bad for anything he's going through, but her, she did not deserve none of that she got. Nobody do.
She didn't want us to show her face, but you can hear her voice trembling as Darnell Jones's then girlfriend shares how she helped Toledo police with evidence in the case. Last Friday, police set up a meeting to question Jones.
Good question.
The weird thing about it is because before they even showed up, he turned my cameras off. I have cameras in my. He asked me to turn them off, and I was like, "Why would you want me to turn the cameras off?" He said, "Because I didn't come home till 5 o'clock that morning, and he didn't want them because he didn't show up till 5." And I'm like, well, thinking in my head, I'm like, well, if you don't have anything to hide, then why should I turn the cameras off? And I didn't, but he thought I did.
She and Jones have a 2-year-old daughter together. She says she was in the room when Jones tried to hide evidence connected to the case.
After the police took this, came back home before he had family. Or he had there was came.
Just pause the video, Temper. It's playing up.
Question answered. You wanted to know how did they know? Well, she provided the CCTV footage.
Yeah.
Yep. And the thing about it, what really stand out to me is the fact that he thought she was a windmill for him actually, by telling her, turning them off because he did like, a lot of things. It's like everything about this is just batshit crazy. We just say it like that.
Yep. On the run to Columbus, where he used to live.
After the search warrant and he disappeared, we left the house because I was scared that he might come back.
He called his girlfriend and she called police.
Come here, man. Don't do it. What's your name? Kill me. Dude,
Trigger warning, trigger warning.
Right now. Pull your fucking hand out of your... I swear to God, pull your... Shots fired. There's in a second. Don't fucking move.
Don't move. All right, suspect's down. All you guys are okay. Don't move. He's got 33 right there. 33 in his hand? No, it's a walkie-talkie. But there's 33s right here. Don't you move or you're going to get shot, okay? All right? Got it. Yep. That's him. Somebody get on the main air. Get us a medic. I'm working on it. All right, on your belly. All right. We'll get you help, okay?
I just want to die, bro.
No, I know, but we can't allow that.
I can't. I don't want to live.
Get us some cruisers.
Does that sound like an innocent man right there? I don't want to live.
No. And why did he shave his head? He had a full head of hair in that other interview.
Mm-hmm. Try to clean up completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mary Gemini's just joined us. Hello, Mary.
Hey, Mary. Long time no see, sis. Hope you're good. Thanks for coming through.
Secure this scene.
About what led up to the shooting?
I know they were looking for him. I worked the street yesterday, and there was a bolo put out yesterday about this, so it was on everybody's mind. The officers are circulating area, patrol detectives, they're looking for this individual. This is what SWAT does. SWAT goes out there. Some of them have uniforms, some are in plain clothes and plain cars. And it's my understanding that they had a location on this suspect vehicle, and they did what they do. They circulated the area, they saturated the area of the short north, and one of the SWAT officers did find them. There was a confrontation. The individual had a gun. You pull a gun on his officers. We've said many times, this is the outcome you could expect. The officers shot him. It's my understanding he is in a local hospital right now.
He had her on.
Yeah. Yeah, they got him, and right now he awaiting trial. But no, it's just crazy how he literally tried to get away. But his guilt by them words, yeah, that set it off for me. But this video right now, just a look into who Donnell Ogletree Jones was. This just a little look into this past.
This side, where that's facing us, he had her on that side right there, hanging off the balcony by her throat.
Angela Silva saw Darnell Jones unleash mayhem just a few doors down from her.
This is a previous neighborhood where Donnell used to live.
Yeah, but who did he have hanging over the balcony?
His own wife, I think, or his girlfriend at the time.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
4th Street home on July 29th, 2019.
And all of a sudden, we started hearing things going over the balcony, like TVs and clothes, you name it. He was tossing it out the door and out the window onto the ground.
Jones choked his wife and held her over this balcony while Silva and other neighbors called 911.
He was this close to throwing her off that balcony.
Harold Glander confronted Jones.
And I yelled down there to pull her back over, and he almost dropped her.
Wow.
So I got myself down there, and I looked at him. I said, man, if you don't pull her back, I'm coming up. He goes, come on. So I didn't take no steps, and I was watching the girl. He almost let go of her.
Wow.
Jones was found with a knife and pleaded no contest to domestic violence, while other charges were dropped.
No contest.
He was sentenced to 60 days in CCNO, but served no time, instead completing a substance abuse program.
Oh, wow. My God, he served no time.
You had that walk in the park?
Yep, no time.
None.
I really despise when mental health and addiction gets people around things that they do. I really hate it.
He totally dodged accountability just now. Totally.
Yeah, but this is, well, he didn't. The system helped him. This is how the system is set up.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The thing about it, And it puts me in this frame of mind too. Like, I see a lot of women with their children out there, who of certain, ain't under 10 or whatever. And you would wonder why they would say, hey, right now, that part of my life, no, bro. I into my kids right now. I trying to grow my children up. And you would wonder why, But then when you think about it, it's only safety and fair sometimes because to have another man who probably ain't your child's father, to be in your life and to risk these type of things happening, that's the type of frame of mind it put me in as to why, when some women say if it don't work out, well, that one over. You know what type of way, Nick?
Yeah, I do.
Kei-Mani Latigue murder case. In fact, her accused killer and father, Darnell Jones Ogletree, was in court earlier today where his defense team revealed they will raise an insanity defense. Several other issues were discussed in this capital murder case. 11 Investigates Melissa Andrews. She was in court for the hearing. So, Mel, the focus tonight is on that insanity defense.
Yes, it's really the big headline out of what happened in court today. Jones' attorney, David Klukas, said they're going to raise the issue as a defense with a filing, but they're not ready yet. Today's hearing was in response to a deadline the judge had set for the defense to say whether or not they're going to pursue insanity or mental illness as a defense. Klukas said they've just not had enough time to review records, including those children's services records pertaining to Kei-Mani, and it's too early to appoint any experts on this issue. Klukas and the judge agreed that the defense would raise the insanity issue with a filing by December 8th. The court discussed a few other issues, including 4 motions filed by the defense to suppress evidence and the state's response to those motions. The two sides will have oral arguments on those motions to keep certain evidence out of the trial on November 24th. The court also said it's still looking at thumb drives of data provided by Children's Services. The defense previously requested 2,000 pages of Children's Services documents saying they contain information relevant to the defense. Last month, the judge said he would review those records to determine whether they're relevant to the case. The two sides will meet in judges' chambers on this issue on November 5th. For 11 Investigates, I'm Melissa Andrews.
So when is his court case?
December 8th.
Oh, it's still a long way
And,
away. It's still a long way away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
But
like
to
that.
even raise an insanity plea, like really, you really want to raise an insanity plea after all of this? Wow. Some things never change.
Yeah, and he should have done time.
That's what he said. Yeah, the system just slapped him on the wrist and said, "Oh, don't do it again," and let him out just because anger management didn't do nothing for him. Wow. Yep, that's a sad situation.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like,
I
hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. It's kind of like the system is geared towards letting men get away with things. I have to say it. It has to be said. What do you think?
To me, I feel as though, for some reason, yeah. And the
I feel like
oversight,
the law. Sorry, you go.
like I say, and the oversight is crazy. Because I mean, a record a mile long, really?
Yeah, and they're trying to suppress this from coming into this case, which is it's just crazy. But there was a case in Australia where a woman went to jail for 20 years. I think it was 20 years. It might have been 30, but I think it was 20 for unaliving her 4 children. Right?
Wow.
But they figured out that her children had passed away. They were not unalived. They all had a genetic condition. But this woman went to jail for 20 years. This is what I'm saying about the law being a bit more lenient towards men. They're a bit harder on women. So she was pardoned after spending 20 years in jail. This is over here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just brought that up as a point of relevance to they're a bit harder on women.
Yeah, I just hope to see some reform right now because, although this happened last year, they're still fresh in our community's mind right now.
Very
Um,
fresh.
I think they might have demolished the house by now, but they was asked by the town to move um the stuff over to across the road. 'Cause- and this is a reminder every day of what happens.
Hmm.
Lucas County Children's Services, they know they dropped the ball in this one.
They dropped it in more than one way. In so many different areas. In grandma, looking into whether or not that man was her father, why he was allowed to have any access to her at all.
Yep. And the fact that they really, 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 and even bring it closer to home, we have this saying over here, I don't know, always the last baby born. And that basically means when the mistake then made, you always hear those words, oh, I didn't know. Oh, if only I didn't know. But hey, the damage done done. And I ain't trying to be like that on this live, but you know, my heart goes out to Tiara, her mom. It really does. In this situation, um, this didn't even have to be so, but it is what it is for now. But I
Mhm.
hope I hope LCCS, I hope they get their act right and actually start living up to this mission statement they have.
Yeah.
They really want to do. The
Yep.
next to get away with murder.
Don't read it out. Don't read it all out.
Yeah, but
It's got a naughty word in there, Archangel.
uh, yeah, it's real power, you know. But if I just say something about the guardianship failure, to me, being a real guardian isn't just providing a home. It's about acting decisively when something's wrong. In this case, critical moments were lost, regardless of intent. That delay represents a failure of guardianship, and when adults fail to act, children pay the price. And when
Yep.
it comes to the Lucas County Children's Services, they did not follow. I mean, followed procedures. They followed procedure, but procedure alone isn't protection.
No.
When multiple concerns exist, background reviews and follow up must be deeper, wider, and continuous. To be honest, this
Mhm.
case raises serious questions about, whether risk assessments and oversights were strong enough to truly protect this child. Um, to end this, this isn't about blame; it's about responsibility. A guardian failed to act when it mattered most. A system failed to protect with urgency required. But the opportunity is to learn how to strengthen oversight and to make sure, from now on, no other child is lost between the gaps, family and bureaucracy. If anything positive come from this, it should be reform, vigilance, and a renewed commitment to protecting children, not just on
Mhm.
paper, but in practice. You know?
Amen. Yep.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for joining me tonight. Nick,
Very
pretty
welcome.
thanks for coming through. Appreciate the support. You there, pretty? You good? Anyone want to say anything before we slide up?
I just want to say thank you for
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for shedding some light on this, Temper. And thank you for having me on the panel.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you
Nick.
very
You're
much.
welcome. I was glad to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are you there, Pretty Heart? You're on mute.
Pretty,
on
you
mute.
good?
She might have froze over there.
Maybe your screen freezing.
Yeah, maybe.
Pretty hard, you there? You on mute?
I don't think she's there.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, glad you all came through. You know,
Very good
last
live.
thing, you
It
know,
was very good.
guardianship is about there's urgency, it's accountability, and action.
Mhm.
And you know, when when any one of these things break down, then you know, a child carries the consequences. So with that being said, thanks for coming through. Thanks everyone.
And please subscribe to Speak Events. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you all.
Bye. Bye for now.
Sometimes it only takes one voice, one moment, one call to remind you why you're still here. Life get heavy when the nights feel long. Bills on the table, still I carry on. Everybody smiling, but I feel alone. Scrolling through days on a cracked phone. Then it rang, wasn't ready for that. Same old world, but it hit different fast. Same two words, but the tone felt new. Just checking in, I believe in you. Funny how the weight don't feel the same when somebody speaks your name. All it takes is one call away, right voice at the right time of day. That energy hit, make the dark feel light. Proof that this life's still worth the fight. One call away, changed my lane, pulled me back when I lost my way. That connection say everything. Yeah, this life worth living. This life worth living. Could have been the worst night of my year. Tears in my eyes, fear everywhere. Real ones don't ask what you did wrong. They remind you who you've been all along. A laugh, a pause, a little truth. Sounded like hope coming through Bluetooth. No money changed, no skies turned blue. But I stood back up 'cause somebody knew. Sometimes love don't come with wings. Sometimes love just rings. All it takes is one call away, right voice at the right time of day. That energy hit, make the dark feel light. Proof that this life's still worth the fight. One call away, save my name, pull me back when I lost my way. That connection say everything. Yeah, this life worth living. If you ever feel like you're fading out, like nobody hears you when you shout, just know somewhere someone would answer. If you dial now, yeah. All it takes is one call away, one moment, turn the pain to faith. That energy don't ever lie. If it found you, you meant to survive. living.